Hi everyone. So in today's class, we're going to use the REST API accounts that we have created, the data connections. So we have everything set up to start to getting data. I know we saw some of that in the past class to illustrate how to do the connections and the tests, but now we're going to deep dive in how to load the data from the REST APIs. Okay, so we have created the REST connections in Qlik. Okay, so this contain the endpoints that we're pointing to get the data. This contains the filters, the authentication information. So everything that we need in order to get the data. Okay, then with this connection, we can use the data wizard to write the load script for us, because for REST connections it's kind of hard to do this kind of load script. So I really recommend always to use the data wizard, because it's hard to do manually. It's not easy. It's not an easy task. Okay, and then after you write your code, it's just a matter of reloading the data to have the results in your application. Okay, to bring the data from your REST API and loading memory in your application. All right. So the first one we are going to use is the customers, Stripe customers. Okay. So we are going to keep just the flat JSON. So what is the flat JSON? So inside the data node, this data node right here, we have records limited by the curly brackets. So each curly bracket represents a customer row, and each property like ID, email, name, created, whatever you have there, are the columns or the properties or the attributes. So we are going to keep only the flat ones. So nothing that has curly brackets inside these curly brackets. So again, each curly bracket inside the data node, you be an individual customer record. Okay. So then we are going to use the data wizard to get the data from the REST connections. So let's jump into the Qlik. I already have it open here. Okay. So this is the data. This is the space that I have where I'm creating our assets for this class. So I'm going to create a new application. So we call this episode 5, loading data from REST API. Okay. I will use this one to get all the data that we need. All right. So because I have all the data connections, it will be something simple, right? So I go to the load editor. I like to create a section for each data load that I do, so it makes it easy to control and organize your code. So I say customers, and actually flat customers. So then I have my REST data connection here to get the customers. So then you click on the data wizard. So this is the select data. So click on the select data, and then I changed my API key. So now I have to get the new one that I have created. So let me jump here for a moment, and I'm going to get my key. Okay. All right, cancel. I will change my connection here to include my new key. So this is the one, again, bear here, space, the new token, test, good, okay, save. So now I try again, select data. So this will open the data wizard. And again, always keep this on no limit, so you make it easier to visualize the preview. So root Root again is the main level, but you in this case for Stripe, and also I think Qlik is the same. We are interested on the data at the data level. So the data will display the customers that we have available. So for now, I would just, if I expand here, I have multiple things. But for now, I would just get the ID. I can be anything like created and name, email and the name. Okay, this is everything that I'm looking for. Okay, so just the regular regular columns. All right, insert. Okay, so then this is what Qlik creates for us. Again, this is kind of awkward SQL statement. It's not easy to recreate or do manually. So that's why I always suggest use the select data, because it keeps everything in the right place. So you don't need to spend a lot of time trying to learn this, and it would be hard to maintain manually. Okay, so what Qlik is doing here? So first is to establish the connection with the REST API. Then it does the select statement. It's like same process as collecting your database, and then doing the select statement to get the data from the database. But in our case, it's a select statement to get the data from the REST API connection. And so this puts the data in Qlik memory, and now I can use the resident load to get this data and do on any other treatment. Okay, so in this case, the table connection is this REST connector master table, and the resident into this one. You can change it. You can do whatever you want here, so it's not a problem. You can change the name. It's like any regular Qlik load script. Just keep this name as default. And then data, it can also be, I can change this to be customers, and that's it. So it takes the fields here, ID, created, email, name. You can also rename it, no problem. And this where clause here is to remove records not associated to the customer level. So we're going to see how that works when you have nested JSON files. So, but this is just to clean up the records. Without this, the select statement is like a big table with all the columns together, and won't make sense if we not reduce the data with this where clause here. So it's kind of tricky to understand that, but this is pretty much to condense the records, in this case, the customer's records, in one single table. And for that, Qlik uses this FK data to remove that. Whatever the FK data in this case here is not null, it's to get only the customers. Okay, so then it finally drop this table, and we have only the customers. Okay, so let's load the data. I'm expecting to see 10 rows. Yes. Okay, because I have about 20 or 20. Since we're not paginating the data, we're just getting the first page. Pagination will be the next class. Okay, so then good. I'll go to data model viewer, and here we'll see the customer data. Okay, so then I have here the ID, created, email, name. Good. This is the flat file, so that's the easiest one to get. Okay, so now if I go here to my customers, I would bring Postman here back. If I use Postman, I can see the field address that I didn't bring here. It's like an object inside the address field. So it's another node. It's a different level. So these are the flat ones: ID, object, balance, created, invoice prefix. These are the nested ones: the address and invoice settings. note the curly brackets here. So this is like you have more attributes inside that object. It's not a flat one. It's like a complex object. It's like when you have a purchase. In the purchase, you have the customer. So who purchased that? And this would be this entire collection here, the whole node here. So this whole node here is the entire customer data. And many REST APIs have different ways to work with that. I think also actually Stripe has this feature where you can only bring the flat records. So you're not interested to see the nested ones. For example, addresses may have geoposition, and then inside geoposition is another complex object, and then you have another one, and then another one. So in order to not have the API return the whole thing, you just reduce to return the first level. So, but again, that depends. So in some APIs, they call the reduced fields. I think also Qlik Sense API have the reduced version of the APIs. So you may have different styles on how to get the data. So just be aware of that. Okay. So let's go back to our presentation. I will actually put here in the load script. Okay. Again, connect, get the data from the REST, put in memory. Then you can handle the data as you're used to doing Qlik. Drop the in-memory table, keep only what you need. You can use this to store in a KVD file or any other supported file from Qlik. Okay, it doesn't mean you have to use this in the application. Okay, you can use it in a KVD builder. All right. Okay, so this is what we saw here to get use the data wizard to get the REST API data. All right. And this just talks about the REST connector master table. So this REST connector master table, you exist in any data wizard from Qlik REST data wizard. Okay. So, all right, we create all that. Okay. Okay, and then this is just a talk about the resident load. So when you as soon as you bring the data into memory, you can handle anyway. Okay, so just do whatever you need to do to transform the data. You can do even joins. We're going to see joins in a moment in this class, and so but it supports any kind of data manipulation. And oops, sorry. And the nested JSON files. So let's see how that works. Okay. Okay. So now I'm interested on bringing this data into the application. So let's go back there. Here, and I'm going to delete the whole thing. So okay, actually this is the flat one. I'll put an exit script here so we don't need to worry about it. So we just skip that one, create a new one. So then this will be the nested customers. Okay, then is the process the same. Okay, select data, no limit in the symbols. I'll expand this one, data. Now I will just get the same ID, email, name, but now I also want the address. Look at what happens when you create an address. So the address field, you have now the nested fields, okay? So if I put city, country, line 1, postal code, and state, so that's all I need. And the load script is going to change a lot now. This is when it started getting really challenging. When you start, you can figure out, okay, flat files, okay, I understand the logic. But when you start adding nested ones, and it's very common to have multiple levels of nested objects, it's impossible. Believe me, it's unbelievable. If you learn to do this by yourself, just typing, and let me know, please. Okay, so basically, for each level, Qlik starts adding nested select statements, and it controls the relationship by these FK records. So FK address, FK data. So then this is when it's starting to become important. This not is no. So not no FK addresses means the addresses records, and same for the FK data. Okay, I think we have a problem here, but let's see. Let me redo it because I think I missed something because I don't see a connection between the address table and the data, and I think because I didn't select the address nodes in the customer data. So let me redo this because I don't, it doesn't look right. So let me do again. Okay, let's try again. So we go to customers, we put no limit, expand here, go to data, then I go to ID. Oh, when that happens, again, just click on another node and go back. It may show up the record. Sometimes it is a kind of bug that happens. So just navigate through the links. This will refresh the preview. So if that happens, just keep that in mind. So email, name, and we need the key field. Okay, I'll just get these two key fields. Address, the same thing. City, country, line, the address line one. Postal code, state, I forgot about selecting the key data, okay? So insert, and that should be good. All right. Okay, so now you see that changed a little bit the code. Here is pretty much the same, almost the same, but then here now, the key fields are these awkward fields, okay? So the FK address becomes the key data, and the key data will link to this one right here. And if we have another level up in the root, we could use this one here. So it's connect to the REST API this time, getting this complex query statement and split into multiple ones. For each level, you have an isolated table. So if you have many nested structures or objects inside your REST APIs, it will create one table for each one of those, and you can have multiple ones, like 20, 30 tables. It depends on how your REST API is structured. Okay, it's common to have like 5, 6, 7 tables like that in one REST API call. Okay, so let's load it and see if that makes sense. Again, I put an exit script here, so you're not be executing this part of the code. All right, load the data. Okay, so let's take a look on the table. Okay, so this is our customers. Okay, so we have ID, email, name. We have the key data. So if I click on the key data here, this must be unique. Yes, and perfect key. So all the customers' data are here. Then if I click the address, you have the key to the main table. Okay, so each address row will be associated to one customer record. Okay, so we have the city, country name. So let's just make it look a little bit better. The root key I don't need here because I don't have any data to associate to the high level. Okay, so then I don't need this. I can call this as anything. I would just call as address ID. Whoop, actually I cannot do like that. This would be as address ID. These are called address ID. And then you can do whatever you want here, like add. You can add address city, address email, things like that. I will call this as a customers. Okay, so that should be good. And let me do like this. Okay. Okay, if I look, I will call this as customer ID. Okay, just make it look better. Load. All right. Okay, so now then we have the customer. Customer ID must be unique. Okay, no duplicated records. Then we have the address ID, so it links to the address table right here. Okay, this is also unique, and that's it. Okay, so again, just to recap this part here. So flat REST APIs, it's simple, right? It's just one table with all the records. So each set of let me get back here this one because it's easy to visualize. Each node inside this square bracket is a record. Okay, so each one of those is a customer record. And if you expand the customer records, these are the flat properties. You just have a property, a value, like a dictionary, okay? But some of those properties are a complex object, so then we call nested. So we have another square bracket, curly brackets, to limit the properties of this object here, in this case, the address. So then for each one of those, Qlik creates a table, okay? So then we have this table right here. And if you have another one, there will be another table, and then another table, and another table, okay? So nested ones are starting getting challenging to make all this stuff. Oh, and by the way, it doesn't matter. This is pretty much like any Qlik load script, okay? It's not something, you don't see these as, oh, I cannot touch it, this code. This one, under this table right here, after the main load, you can do whatever you want, okay? So you have the full data collection here, so then you can manipulate in any way. So you just have to be aware with this where clause. This is very important. But besides that, the way you group this and combine this is up to you. So if I change the order here and do something like this, and I do left join, this customer table, it's okay. So you can do that. So but now you have just one big flat file with all the rows. So if I go back here, so instead of having the addresses, you have a table with all the columns and everything that you need, like a unpivot table with everything here. Okay, so you can do that. So don't be afraid, like, oh, now that because I'm using REST connection, I cannot handle anything. So in a lot of situations, in a lot of scenarios, you have to handle that. And there's so many different ways that you can do this. And it depends on how the REST APIs works. You have to handle this. Okay, so just don't be afraid about manipulating the data after this, and be aware of the where clause. This is the most important thing. Everything else you can do: left joins, inner joins, change the field names. Just be aware of the key fields so you not change any link. Okay. All right. Okay, so that's everything about flat and nested ones. Now let's see now another way. So You can also load multiple, you can use multiple REST connections in the same load script. No problem. It's like connecting to multiple database in the same flow, and you can manipulate those tables, okay? So let's see an interesting scenario here. Not interesting, but it's a curious one, where you can get, I will mix in using now this time Qlik REST connection to load data from the items collection and spaces. Items can be almost anything in Qlik, okay, like applications, data sets, a lot of different things. But for now, we just get the items. So, and as I always suggest, let's first go to Postman. So Postman, always use Postman, all right, to test your REST connections. So with Postman, I this is what the one that we did before, the spaces, right? So handle here, just send a connection. All right, no parameters, just the endpoints for the spaces, and I'm getting all the spaces, every single space. Okay, good. And then I create a new one. This is called the items. This I did myself. I didn't show this one. So this is the items endpoint. So items is very powerful endpoint. So you have a lot of objects inside this one. But for now, I'm limiting just for the resource type equals app. So I'm just interested on applications. So I go send here, and then here I can see the applications. So I have this one, podcast views. Again, you see this is a flat property, and resource attributes is already another collections with all the attributes about the application. So you can use this one, but it's kind of repeated. It repeats some of the information at the root level. So at the item level, this is the root level, this is the data level, and this is the item level. So what I'm looking for here is for the resource ID that tells me the ID of the application, the name, and the space ID. This one doesn't have space ID. So why it doesn't have a space ID? It's because it's in a personal space. So this one will not work. So then if I go to the next one, this one has a space ID. So this is one I'm looking for. So I'm just looking for applications that belong to a space, okay? So then I will create this new endpoint, okay? My Qlik connection, because I don't have this one. So just go here. Let me add again, exit script, okay? And I'm going to items plus space, okay? So I need create a new connection, REST API. This would be the items. So just go, it's a get, right? So good. Then I need to do always allow with connection. This is authorization, bearer, space. I'll get my token here. Token. I need the query parameters. So this is the same that I'm using here. Okay. Resource type equals app. Then a test connection. Okay. I think I need this this one here, my previous connection, because I have updated my token. So just go back to spaces and replace this one here. Oh, it's the same. Okay. All right. Good. So, okay. Nice. And I haven't added this name. Okay. So call get items. Get items. Test connection. Okay. Save. All right. So, okay. So you get the connections. right? No limit, expand the root. I'm just looking for the data. It's not showing, so go back and forth. Okay, name, I'm looking for resource ID and space ID. Where's the space ID? Space ID right here. Okay. Insert. So this will create the apps table. I'll rename this as app name, app ID, and space ID. Like this. This will be our link field. Okay, so this is all I need for this one. And then now I'm going to load, let's load this and see if it's working. The problem here now, just thinking about this, is I don't have all the records, so this may look funny, okay? So, okay, space ID, okay. I can even remove, just add another clause here, and not is null the space ID. So don't get anything without space ID. Let's check again. Come on. All right. Okay. Good. And this is interesting. You see now that I have 9 records. It's because I didn't filter at the request level. So it's just returning me the 10 first applications. And then I'm filtering on top of that. Let's change that for now. Let's leave like that. Okay, no worries. Okay, now, so this to get the applications. And then another one now to get the spaces. Okay, so then I go here, the select date statement, no limit, expand the root, go to data, back and forth. Again, if it's not working, just try again. Come on. Again. It's kind of slow. Okay, finally. So you get ID. I will use type also, and the name and description. Okay. That's all I need. All right, so the first connection to get applications, the second one to get the spaces. So it's just linking to different REST APIs. You don't need to use disconnect or anything like that. It's not needed. The select statements are similar, right? But here now, ID in my case, will be the space ID, right? This would be as a space type, as a space name, and space description. Okay, so then we create the temporary table. You see it's the same name here, but since I drop it, no problem. So I can reuse the same name. So I drop it, good. Okay, and this will be spaces. Okay, load data. All right, then if I go back here, this will not be perfect because I'm not doing data pagination, so you'll probably not be returning the whole thing. That the subset ratio here, 40%. Okay, this one is 100% because we have all the records. Okay, for this one, it's kind of works for the set that I have here. And then you can play around, right? Okay, okay, I have those spaces. Then I do, okay, inner keep or inner join the apps. So only loads related tables, right? So you only have the tables, the records that exist here, you only load. So you have the space must exist on both tables, this one and this one. So the tables you only show related records. So we can expect maybe a data reduction, especially in the spaces table. Okay. So then if I go back here, so this now returns still 9 records, space 100% this time. Before was 40%, the subset ratio. So then 4 distinct rows. So I'm expecting to see 4 rows in this table right here. Yes. So then we have just those spaces here. If I do data pagination, like in the next one, the next class, then this will expand a lot because we'll be loading more than 10 records. So we'll be loading the whole thing. Okay, let's go back to the presentation. So before that, again, this is just regular, just load script, right? It's just what is different is the way you connect to the database, in this case, the REST API connection, and how you do the query. So again, this query can be very challenging, so I do recommend just using the data wizard. And then after that, you can handle this anyway. You can just manipulate on any way you know about how to handle Qlik load script, okay? So don't be afraid about using and manipulating this in many different ways, okay? Now we can go back to the presentation. Okay, so this was about this. So I can load multiple tables in one single row, one single load. And just summarize this episode. So we saw the flat files, the flat JSON. So it will be like pretty much property value. So it's easy to read those, right? So we have the nested JSON. So it's when an attribute, instead of being a single value like a numeric or string, it's a complex object. It's like another JSON inside it with multiple attributes, another collections of properties and values. So those are nested. So it's like you see like a tree with multiple nodes. Resident load. So you load your data from the REST API into your application. This is your in-memory records, like any other load you have in Qlik. So you bring your data from your data source, in our case REST APIs, put into memory, so you can manipulate this in any way you want. Okay. And finally, following the same principle, you can connect those loaded tables in different ways, okay? And the next episode, finally, you'll be pagination. So the first one, you'll be the regular pagination. So that's the easy one. Is the one that you can do inside the data connection. And then the last class, will be about how to use load script to do complex or non-supported data connection pagination. Okay? I see you next class. Thank you.